Kia ora koutou, tēnei te mihi nui o te wiki o te reo Māori. A very warm welcome to you all on this New Zealand Māori Language Week. I hope you've had a good one. So first of all, thank you to everyone who has been in touch in recent weeks just to check in on how I'm doing. And yes, it has been quite remiss of me not to have kept you all updated a bit more regularly than I have. But I've been busy. So what's happened in the last 2 months since I spoke to you last is that I had the dreaded COVID about 7 or 8 weeks ago, and fortunately it didn't really hit me too hard. I think I was probably in bed for a day or two, but for the most part I think I got off lightly, which is lucky for me. I know some of you didn't so much, but yeah, I was fortunate that it didn't affect my recovery as such. That was my one fear, I guess, is that if I did get COVID, that perhaps it would slow things down in terms of the recovery from the saggy bowels, but that wasn't the case, thankfully. Also, I talked in my last video about the acupuncture experience that I had in Porirua. So, yeah, it's been an interesting month because I'm kind of walking between two worlds when it comes to the health system. So I've got one foot very firmly in the scientific modern day health system, I guess, in terms of the doctors and so on. But I've also now got this foot in the more alternative treatments world. And so for the former, I actually got in touch with my doctor, my GP, about 4 months ago, just to let him know that things hadn't really improved so much, and maybe he could have some advice for me just in terms of pushing things along a bit faster. He didn't have any advice, but he did refer me on to the neurology department at the hospital, and I heard from them about a week later, letting me know that they would set up an appointment, but that it would take about 20 weeks before they could fit me in. Yeah, so I think I might have laughed out loud at that point, because 20 weeks, I mean, it had already been 20 weeks. And I was thinking, man, if I get to what would be 8 or 9 months time of having Bell's palsy, then things aren't going great. But here we are. I've already surpassed the 8-month mark. I've still got it, but as you can see, it's a whole lot better, significantly better. You can't even really tell, you know, when I'm not using my eyebrows so much or not smiling too much. You can't even really tell, which is lucky now that we're not wearing the masks. So just last week I got a letter from Dunedin Hospital saying they'd like to see me next month, but unfortunately I am on Stewart Island that day. So yeah, hopefully I can make an appointment at some stage. So that's the former. The latter is around the alternative health treatments. So I've been seeing an acupuncturist here in Invercargill. I've probably been to half dozen sessions with her. The thing I learned about acupuncture in the last couple of weeks is that there are kind of two sides to that as well. There's the acupuncture that you get at your physio perhaps, or some of those places that deal directly to the injury or the site of pain. And then there's the more holistic approach, and that's what I've been receiving. So these acupuncturists are dealing with the whole self, and that includes diet, that includes relationships. There's a whole spiritual thing going on as well, and so it's not specifically targeting the point of concern, which for me obviously is my face, but in particular my eye. Because everything is connected, right? It's dealing with those other things that might be causing the palsy in the first place. And I know some people are not open to this, but I've always been open to learning about it at least. And actually, I think it is making a difference. The first few sessions, the needles didn't go anywhere near my face, which was a surprise. You know, I had 3 in this ring finger. I had them under my knees and just off my elbows and that sort of thing. Because what I learned is that according to the Chinese way of doing acupuncture is that the eye is connected with a few other parts of the body, namely the gallbladder, the liver, and the small intestines. So I guess those points where the needles were applied were trying to fix those issues in order to fix the eye, if that makes sense. But in the last couple of sessions, I have had needles in the face. I've had them very close to my eye. I had one right here. I had, you know, I've had them across my eyebrow and just in here. And my very last one, which was yesterday, we tried a new technique which is called threading rather than needling. And that's where they go in sideways. Yeah, it's not comfortable, as you can imagine. But it seemed to make a real difference. I had probably half a dozen needles in the side of my face yesterday, and they were all going in sideways. But I feel a lot looser in here. Things aren't as tight. Back when I first got the palsy, let me explain what the sensation was like, because I've had a lot of people say to me, when I say, you know, this is paralysed, they're like, well, if I slapped you, would you feel it? So a couple of things there. First of all, please don't slap me. Secondly, yes, I would feel it. It's not that I've lost feeling, it's that I've lost movement, if that makes sense. So it was more like it was really clenched up, I guess, or wound up tightly. In fact, back in those first few weeks, it was so tightly wound up that every now and then my jaw would just release that pressure and snap down. And I kid you not, 100% of the time, it snapped down on my tongue. And you might remember this was a time when I had all those terrible ulcers on my tongue. So it wasn't much fun. I remember one night it happened 4 times. And yeah, I did not enjoy that. I haven't had that issue so much recently because it hasn't been so tightly clenched. I can still feel it though in here. So this latest acupuncture session, and I guess the ones prior to that, have really helped to stop that tightness in this cheek in particular. And also you can tell I can't quite close the eye yet, but it's a whole lot better than it used to be. So we are making progress. It hasn't been as fast as I would have liked, obviously, but I feel like the end is in sight. And that's what I wanted to let you all know, is that things are progressing. They're going pretty well, actually, but we're not quite there. So hopefully next time you see me, I will be there. But yeah, we'll see.